AfterBuzzers, welcome back to another after show for NBC's Superstore. We're getting our wellness fair on right after this.
You're tuning into the destination for TV superfan discussion, AfterBuzz TV. And now, let the buzz begin.
Yes.
Oh yeah, out. Everybody be coming
Yes.
out.
Woo!
Woohoo! Yes.
Oh my goodness, people are coming out on their show tonight. Hey, what's up, guys? I'm your host, Alina Vision. You can follow me on all social media at Alina Vision, and that's Vision with 2 S's. And I'm joined here by my girl.
Hey
What up?
guys, I'm Tara. You guys can find me on YouTube, Tara Erickson. Just search that, or on Twitter at the Tara Erickson.
Yes.
Tweet at girl.
Yes. Love it. Yeah, so wow. First thoughts about this episode.
So much happened, and we called it last week where we're like, they're gonna find out about these people sleeping with each other. It's all eventually gonna come crashing down, because we also thought that Mateo needed some love and affection in the public arena of the Superstore, and a lot of stuff exploded.
Yeah, it went down. This has probably been one of my favorite episodes,
I agree.
I think.
I'm like, what? They're saying this too? They're really like, I was into it.
Oh my God. Okay, but before we get all that,
yes.
because that was juicy.
So much.
So juicy. Let's start at the beginning. So, Amy calls in sick. Now, I mean, how many of us have done this?
All the time.
You say
You
all
like
the time.
put on the sick voice.
Is the sick voice like your go-to, or do you come up with some other excuse?
You know, I think I double down on maybe making up an excuse, but then also you really gotta dig deep and
You gotta sell it.
Yeah, you have to sell it.
Yeah.
Amy was coughing a lot, and I'm
was.
like, cut
Yeah.
down the coughing and make it seem like a little more sickly, maybe.
Right, because the cough doesn't come on in the first day. That's
Right.
more of a third, fourth day
Yeah,
thing.
you got to sound like you have a high fever.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
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 But yeah, I do. I've done it quite a bit. Yeah.
I think we're all guilty as charged. So she calls in sick, and she's talking to Glenn. Dina is not buying it at all. You know, it's Dina. She's always Detective Dina. But while she's calling in sick, she's at the movie theater with her daughter, which is cute. You know, you can understand that. You need a day with your daughter to take her to the movies. She sees Jeff.
Oh, hey.
She's like, why is Jeff all the way out here? And then Mateo rolls up.
Oh, hey.
Yep. And the cat's out of the bag.
Cat's out of the bag, and I was like, yes. I was so excited. But also, when she said, why are they all the way out here? And then I was like, oh man, Jeff and Mateo are constantly like escaping like the arena of Superstore. They like go real far away. Because I assume Amy, in the hopes of never getting caught, that she's like 10 miles away.
Right.
And I just thought of like Jeff and Mateo's life of just we got to go more than like 10 outside of the radius, where I'm like, that takes a lot of work.
It does.
Because they do that all the time. Amy did it once.
That's true.
Yeah.
So true.
Yeah.
Didn't even think about that, but yeah, so true. So sees Mateo, and now the cat's out of the bag. So we get back to the store, and at the store they're having a wellness fair.
They sure
They're
are.
always doing the most at this store, I swear.
They do the weirdest things.
Yeah.
I've never gone to a Target and or a
No.
Walmart where there was also wellness fair, because that would be great, because
It
you
would
get
be.
so much free stuff.
Yeah. Your swag
And you
bags.
also
Yeah.
learn about being well, but mostly you get a lot of free stuff.
Yeah, we're always down for free stuff.
Yeah.
Who's not? So at the wellness fair, Jonah and Glenn pretty much get into this back and forth of who's smarter, because we find out that Jonah was thinking about going to medical school, and Glenn was thinking about becoming a doctor.
Yeah.
Bless his heart.
They both wanted to be doctors.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Yeah, and I mean, Glenn, bless his heart, especially when he was talking to the nurse, and it's like, oh, I set up a juice station because juice is just so healthy. And they're like,
They're like, nope.
yeah.
It's filled with sugar, Glenn.
Yeah.
Poor Glenn. He's not the brightest tool in the toolbox. It's not the right metaphor. It's the brightest bulb in the bulb box. You guys know what I'm talking about.
Exactly.
Yeah. Jonah's always been smarter, though. Like, he's always been the smartest one, that they made fun of him from day one of being like, you're very privileged. What are you doing here?
Exactly.
So I found it funny that they found a way to bring that back into the plot with Glenn.
Yeah.
I liked it.
Yeah, and I think it just gave us another layer to, like, we never knew that at one point, you know, he wanted to go to med school because he was going to business school.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. So it's something nice to find out about the character. So also back at the store, Amy tells Cheyenne and Garrett
Yes.
that she saw Jeff kissing Mateo, and she's just so like, oh my God, he's cheating on Sandra.
Right.
What are we gonna do?
Oh, man.
And I loved Garrett and Cheyenne's like reaction. They're like, oh.
Yeah.
Because they already knew.
They already knew.
Yeah.
I felt bad for Amy in that moment where I had forgotten that. I was like, oh, right. Amy doesn't know. She also, I feel like she knows stuff. Like, she's good at her job, but she's not on the down low.
No.
Amy's not, right? She's only on the, she doesn't have like the in. Only if Jonah gives her the end, which most of the time he does.
So true.
But if she's on her own solo, which she was in this episode, there wasn't a lot of Amy and Jonah, which you guys all know I'm waiting to see.
You know what? There hasn't been a lot of Amy and Jonah, I feel like, for the past few episodes. I feel like they've really dampened that down.
They've downed it down because they're saving it for some time.
Season finale.
To be announced.
Maybe.
I pray it's the season finale and that it's not the series finale because I will die.
Exactly.
Right?
Right.
Like 7 years from now. Right.
Finally happens and then it's over. So at that time that Garrett and, you know, Cheyenne are talking to Amy about this, I loved how Garrett's like, you know, we shouldn't know who's banging everyone in the store. Yeah. And because
Let's not open up the can of worms here.
Exactly, because he's banging Dina.
Yeah, and he was all about the Jurassic Park references, which they did do a callback to it at the end. But when he was first saying that, I was like, yes, Jurassic Park, because I love it. And when he said, he was telling her, he's like, you'll get your head bit off halfway through sitting on the toilet. Where I'm like, yes, so Jurassic Park. Being like, Amy, stop meddling, which I enjoyed.
Right, exactly. Yeah. And of course, she keeps meddling because she feels like she has to tell Sandra that, you know, her boyfriend's cheating on her. Oh my God. Boyfriend's cheating on her. So, so she goes and tells Mateo.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then Mateo confesses at that moment, right? And then it ends up in the after that, the meeting, right? Is that
right? But we're not gonna get there yet.
Okay, got it. Because I'm like, yeah, what happens there? I'm like blanking.
She goes up to Mateo and tells him like, I saw you on.
Oh, right. And he has to like,
he has to fess up, and he's like, actually, he's my boyfriend. We've been seeing each other since like October. Right. Here's some pictures.
Oh, right. He's like, here's us on a picnic. Here's us at the movies. Yes, I loved that.
Right.
I loved it.
So then finally Amy sees that Sandra's like, poor thing has been making this whole thing up.
Yeah.
I mean, she's been spending money on this.
Yeah, she's been doubling down on all these ideas.
She's like going into debt.
She's going, she's opened up at least 2 credit cards for everything that she's done.
Maxing stuff out.
For sure.
One of my favorite cutaways from the show was, I guess you could say it was a cutaway, when they actually showed her like photoshopping a picture of her and Jeff.
And Jeff? Yeah, at work.
Paris, yeah.
Where I'm like, don't you have a computer at home, Sandra? Wouldn't that be the safer place?
It was so blatantly photoshopped.
So obvious. I did love that pickup. It was a good one.
Yeah. They did some really good ones, this show. Yeah. So let's go back to Dina and Garrett. I love that Dina handed him a bag of condoms. Yes, and it was like a bribe to see where Amy was at the day before.
Yes, Dina is. Oh my God, she's one of my favorites. I'm like, oh my God, Dina's strong personality. Just the fact that she's like, you can use those with me or anybody or everybody or maybe me. I mean, I don't know, whatever you're. Yeah, or solo, and he's like solo. That was the best. And then she ends up just giving them back because I'm like, Dina wants him to have those because it's her basic way of being like, let's do that again and maybe keep doing it.
Exactly, because you got the protection. So
but she can never say it out loud. I highly doubt Dina will ever be like, let's do it again. Except that I lie because in the closet she was like, sex again? Was that her? That when they started doing it in the office when they were locked in. It was really hot.
It was kind of her. Yeah.
Never mind. She'll say when she wants it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's coming again.
It's coming.
For sure. So when Mateo, actually, we're going to jump back to when Mateo was telling Amy, a staff member overhears because Amy is just so loud, even though she's trying to be discreet.
Yeah.
And then, of course, the entire store finds out that Sandra was not dating him and Mateo was dating Jeff.
Rough.
So, yeah, which leads them to say that Sandra's just insane.
Yeah, because she's a maniac.
Yeah, Myrtle.
I loved it so much. All of Myrtle's lines this episode were basically just like, because she's a maniac. And I'm like, that's the best.
Yeah.
I loved it.
Sassy lady, that one. Absolutely. So, turns out Amy thinks, okay, oh my goodness, I can fix this. I can totally fix this. Once you have a rumor or any type of thing like that out there, like there's no bringing it back in.
No, there's no bringing it back in. You just end up making it worse, which is exactly what she did. What
happened. So in the break room, Amy and them, people are talking about it. She's like, well, maybe, it's not your business. You don't know what's going on. And then it just starts snowballing. And I loved how Cheyenne was like, because she's pregnant.
That's Cheyenne reaching and just pulling something from the air.
And then it just got infinitely worse.
Yeah. It's something that I would do. Like, it's like, because she has 3 kids. And then they're like, it's so easily disproved the hour later, and then you're just the liar in the room.
Exactly.
But you were really just trying to help somebody out. Yeah, the worst. Because she's pregnant, and then it just keeps snowballing.
And like badly. And then Glenn's like, who's pregnant? And of course, Glenn wants babies. People to have babies. So he's all about it. He's like, let's throw her a shower.
Yeah.
Like a Breaking Bad themed shower. Somebody brought that up. Hilarious. Oh my goodness.
So good.
So good. So yeah, so it turns out, obviously she's not pregnant. Glenn goes on this whole thing about her keeping the baby because Amy, I think it was, said, well, she might not even keep it.
She might not even keep it. Then they all lose their mind.
Yeah.
And then Cheyenne comes back again. Is like, yeah, she's probably having an appointment on Wednesday. They're like, okay, enough with the days. She throws out a day that she's probably going to, not keep the baby.
Yeah, exactly.
And Glenn is losing his mind.
Of course he is. So, grabs Sandra, takes her on a tour of the baby aisle and all of that, and is telling her how good it would be to be a mother.
Yeah.
Jonah catches wind of this, and he's like, So then we have, of course, the epic battle between Jonah, who's pro-choice.
Yes.
And Glenn, who's pro-life.
Pro-life, right.
Yeah.
But except Glenn, Mr. Pro-life, is trying to teach Sandra. He's like, well, just imagine this baby and then throwing into the trash can. And then Jonah's like, no. And I'm like, oh, God, Glenn's metaphors are the worst for pro-life. Because I'm like, I thought it was funny. But no, I loved it. I wrote it down as they're both saying that they're feminists, but Glenn was like, I'm a feminist. I'm a big fat feminist. I loved it a lot. It was a feminist war between.
Exactly.
And I think, I forget which girl was in there to interject. Maybe it was Amy. They were both
Amy.
I think both of you should. And they're like, no.
Yeah.
Get out of here, woman.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It was Amy. And it's playing out in front of the entire store who's just standing there watching, what is going on?
Totally. It's so awkward.
What is going on?
Yeah.
So, come to find out, that Sandra's not pregnant eventually because Jeff comes back in and he's like, okay, so you guys are the first store that we, didn't have to have, or you guys, we have to have an abortion talk now because of the fact that, we thought we never would have to because it was something you weren't going to talk about at work, but...
We never had to have instructional videos about how not to talk about abortion at work, but now welcome to today, and with you fools, we do. Yeah.
And people are like, oh no, don't you even start with me because you dumped Sandra, who's pregnant for Mateo. And he's like, wait, what?
Yeah. So great.
Now, this was probably my favorite scene because it was just everyone came out with
everything.
Their dirt completely. So what was your favorite part about it?
Well, I loved it how laid back Jeff was about being like, I'm gay. And they're like, what? And he's like, yeah, I'm gay. He was not afraid to admit it. It was just like out in the open. And I guess second after that was just Mateo could not keep his mouth shut. Yeah. And he's like, he's my boyfriend, or whatever he said. That probably was my favorite part of everybody like coming. Oh, but then Garrett and I don't know. There's so many, girl. This whole episode was just craziness. Yeah, but Garrett and Dina was like another thing that I was like, oh my God, they all know now.
Yeah. See, I liked how matter-of-factly Dina said it. She's like, well, I've been banging him for a while. Yeah. So that's okay, right?
Yeah. And I was surprised that Garrett did not deny it. I thought he was going to be like, I don't know what she's talking about. And he was like, that is true. Yeah. And I'm like, whoa. I didn't think that Garrett would have admitted it, but he did.
Yeah, he did.
And I'm like, ooh, that might mean future stuff with those two, because I thought he might be like embarrassed to admit it. Right. Because, Dina is such a hardball. Right. But he wasn't. He was forthright coming.
Exactly. I mean, that scene was crazy. Yeah. Everyone came out with their dirt. Totally. Mateo is now out and proud with Jeff, which is awesome. They even came out of the dressing room holding hands. They did. He told a customer, yeah, he's my boyfriend.
Yeah, I loved it.
Love it, love it.
And poor Sandra still gets pooped on. One thing that I did write down that I forgot to say was that she's like, Sandra was left at Dave and Buster's on her birthday. We all left her there, and I'm like, God, poor Sandra. She's just, she has it the worst. And then she had to come out and admit it herself, that she made it all up and her debt and all that. Oh, I felt so bad.
And she's like, I felt like a rock star for once in my life.
I'm like, really? Jeff?
Just at Superstore?
Right. Yeah. You're like in front of these
and you had to do all that work? Oh,
so much. Yeah. So much work and money.
Horse and carriage coming to pick you up from work.
Yeah. That was amazing.
Yeah.
I'm glad. I know. I would not have tried to return the horse and carriage, which she did. I would have been like, no, I'm riding it back home in style. She had to acquiesce to riding it home in style. Exactly. But, yeah.
Exactly.
No, I loved it.
Loved it. Great episode.
So good.
Great writing. All of that.
Yeah. All of it. And the Jurassic Park references.
Bravo.
Yes.
Yes. All right. So I think that wraps up that. So let's get into predictions.
Okay. Oh. Okay. I think,
And
See
now,
how I was like, oh.
your AfterBuzz TV.
The remix.
Okay, guys, I say it every time. I think that Dina and Garrett are going to be more open about their relationship. They might go out on a date and it might be known, where he might be like, do you want to eventually do something other than what we're doing? I think they'll find a funny way to make that happen, and she may or may not say yes. I'm not quite sure, but I think more deepening into the relationship where you wouldn't expect one or the other to want to date. I think that's going to come up. Gosh, I say it every time. I need Jonah and Amy to just make out for just a second. I can't. I need more Jonah and Amy montages or something in my life.
More life lessons from Jonah and Amy.
I know,
right?
man.
Yeah.
I think that's it for me. I don't think I'll see a whole... Maybe Sandra will finally find a boyfriend. I would love it, because she was at that girls' meeting at a girls' brunch, and a guy came up to her and asked her out, and she said no, that she has a boyfriend, but that's because that other girl said, don't you have a boyfriend?
Right.
It would be great to see, her date somebody.
Ooh, somebody at the store.
Yeah. Maybe somebody at the store, like a customer, and then he ends up stalking her, which is maybe her dream come true, because she's never had a stalker, but then it becomes weird, and then she has to break up with him.
Or maybe she actually does get a boyfriend, and because she's already done this, nobody believes her.
Oh, right. Exactly.
Sure.
Yep.
Yeah, exactly.
I love it.
So let's see. So that's one of my predictions. I think that might even happen.
That's funny.
As far as Garrett and Dina, I think they will probably go on some sort of date.
Maybe, right?
I feel a romance blossoming with them.
A little bit.
I do feel like, I don't think it'll happen next episode. I think it'll happen probably maybe season finale a little bit down the road. I think they're just going to keep doing this like, oh, I don't know thing.
Yeah.
Like keeping it cool for a while. And as far as Mateo and Jeff goes, I'm hoping that they're able to still be together, but because of the whole like, one's in a superior position than the other, I kind of feel like something's going to get out and like their bosses are going to find, Jeff's boss is going to find out. So that might cause some friction there. But yeah.
And I also think, before I forget, in that Garrett is learning how to control Dina a little bit more in a relationship way, because he's like, Dina, Amy saw the new Lego Batman movie, and she's like, gotta call you back. And I was like, oh man, they're getting like
they're
how
getting
they can,
each other, right? Exactly, like starting to work as a team. Exactly. I do like them together.
Yeah,
I do.
Me too.
Yeah,
I like that moment.
All right, that wraps up that. So where can the good people find you?
Yeah, guys, you can find me on YouTube. Just search Tara Erickson, or on Twitter at the Tara Erickson, Instagram at Tara Erickson.
Woo! And you guys can follow me on all social media at Alina Vision, and that's Vision with 2 S's. Yeah, so until next time, we'll be back on March 16th, because that's when Superstore returns. And yeah, that's it. So have a good one, guys.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.